back. Welcome to the show. I am your host, Jack Sperry. We are less than a week away from the 2023 NFL trade deadline. We've got all the juice for you today on Steelers Talk. On today's show, we're going to be breaking down the latest Steelers news and rumors, including a couple of trade rumors coming from the Denver Broncos here. Some very interesting names there. We're going to be talking a little Justin Simmons, Patrick Surtain, bunch of good stuff in that segment. And then I've got 4 Steelers trade predictions that I'm going to share with you guys on the last segment of today's show. So all the real ones are going to stick around for that one. 4 trade predictions for next week. And then also, we're going to be doing the Steelers Talk live mailbag. We do it every single week here on Steelers Talk. So if you got a Steelers question, if you got a trade idea, you want to get on the show today, do me a favor. Use hashtag Steelers or Super Chat along with your questions down in the chat. And let's get today's show rolling. And Mr. Coop, how are we doing today, my friend?
You scared me with that intro. I was like, what is going on?
I'm bringing the juice today,
You're bringing
man.
the juice. Let's go.
Omar,
it's a Wednesday.
Omar Khan's going to be bringing the juice next week.
The con artist?
The con artist.
We are? All right, it scared the shit out of me.
Our boss just came in here and said
we're banned from the studio.
Banned from the studio moving forward because I guess we don't want the energy anymore. We don't want high energy.
Our boss is a Steelers hater. He's from Ohio, so he doesn't like the Steelers.
He's a big Cleveland Browns fan, so that's why he doesn't want the Steelers studio to be loud.
Let's make him annoying.
Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Nice and loud for our boss, James Yoder, a big Cleveland Browns fan in the next door, right next to us. All right, Coop, let's talk some Steelers football here. Name a player in the National Football League that the Steelers should go out and get by next week.
Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry. I like that name. He's 29, though. Is he too old?
If the Steelers had Derrick Henry, they win the division easily.
I mean, easily.
I
mean, this is a very competitive division, but I do think it increases your chances for sure. Let me know down there in the comments section. I want to see all the real ones.
My homie Elliptic 6 is in the chat.
Elliptic 6, my dude. What's going on, man?
Owen Lore.
Which player do you guys want to go get? Let me know down there in the comments, and we'll give you a shout-out to start today's show. I see Bode Irwin in there. I see Owen Lore in there. I see Elliptic 6, Illusion Aviator.
Owen says Darren Waller.
CM Punk is here. Braylon is here. John McKee is here. Braylon's here. Owen, let's go, man.
Owen, wait, do you want us to trade for Darren Waller? Is that what you're saying?
I think that's what he's saying. I'm seeing Justin Simmons.
Oh, baby.
We're already getting started here on Steelers Talk.
Just ride.
Webb's World won with a $10 super chat here. He says, what is the one thing that would get your Yins card taken away outside of me having a strong hatred for those Bumblebee jerseys? I also don't like this song. I changed it. The New Level was ASAP.
New Level's a good song for sure. What song are you talking about, though?
I think is he talking about our new Steelers Talk song?
I don't know. Just Webb's World. Let us know what you're talking
about.
The
no intro song? Is that what you're talking about, Just Webb's? Because I like our new song.
He also, and you'll be surprised, Josh Webb's World says he wants us to trade for Jordan Addison.
Yeah, no surprise there. Just Webb's World has wanted us to go get Jordan Addison, even dating back to the draft. He wanted to draft him in the first round. And listen, I mean, Just Webb's World, I mean, he was right that Jordan Addison has really blossomed into a star. He actually tweeted at me after the Monday Night Football game, and he was talking about, you still think Jordan Addison isn't as good as Deontay Johnson after that awesome performance that he had against the 49ers? I mean, listen, Jordan Addison, I've always said, is a really good player. I thought he was going to be really, really good, but I am happy that they ended up getting an offensive tackle. I wish they'd frickin' play him, but, Broderick Jones, I do believe in his future, and I think in the long run, that is going to be the right move. You have George Pickens. Deontay Johnson is a really good number 2. I mean, as good as Jordan Addison would have been on the Steelers, and, if you got him at, the top of the second round, I would have done that. but like 14th overall, 16th overall, I think that would have been a little bit too early, in my opinion. But
I want to answer this one from Matt Hyde. I always see him in the chat, and we'll answer this also on the mailbag, but I thought this was a good one.
Okay, so here's a trade I would do. Okorafor and a 4th-round pick in Denver for Surtain. I mean, I'd do that too.
I would want it, but the Steelers would not do that one, Matt. I'm sorry. The Steelers.
The Broncos?
The Broncos. The Broncos are going to look for at least 1 first-round pick, probably 2.
Probably 2. He's 23 years old. He's a star cornerback in this league. He's still on his rookie contract. I mean, the Broncos are rebuilding, and they're definitely willing to get rid of some of their good players. But, I mean, when it comes to players that you want to start your rebuild with, I would think Patrick Surtain, a 23-year-old lockdown number 1 corner, kind of is going to be a cornerstone of that rebuild. Why would you want to trade that? So I'm going to go over later in today's show why I don't think the Steelers will trade for Patrick Surtain. I think there's a number of reasons why, and I'll lay those out for you guys later in today's show. And then we got Just Websworld here. He says, meant to say Renegade. So Renegade is the Steelers song by Styx, and it's an awesome song, in my opinion. But I guess Just Websworld.
He wants it as New Level by A$AP
He wants it
Ferg.
good
song.
It's a good song, but I just think Renegade is just so intertwined with Steelers culture at this point. It just wouldn't feel right if it was anything else, in my opinion. But we appreciate you super chatting here. Just Websworld, you are the best. And now, Coop, let's shift over from trade rumors over to the final Steelers record and what we think it's probably going to be by the end of the season. I did my updated record predictions video, I believe it was last week, and I had them at 9-8. I think after that win versus the Rams, I'm going to go up to 11 wins.
10 was mine. I said 10-7.
Yeah.
So I'm right in the middle there as well. Look, we're 4-2 right now, correct?
4-2, and then you got Jacksonville this week. You got the Titans next week. They're going to have Will Levis.
Look,
are you kidding me?
They're 4-2, and they've won some games that they maybe shouldn't have, or they've escaped by the skin of their teeth. And I think that's a good sign because even when you're winning, when you don't play well, that's a sign of a good team.
Yeah, exactly. You win the close games.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Mike Tomlin says, these guys cut their eyelids off. They don't blink here in Steelers Nation, man.
This Jacksonville game will be tough. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence, really good quarterback, and they have a good offense. But if they can win this game, and then you win the Titans game, all of a sudden, you're 6-2. Yeah, I mean.
Exactly. I mean, Colin Cowherd actually put the Steelers back in his top 10, his herd hierarchy this week. I'm not quite ready to call them a top 10 team with the way the offense, it looked better against the Rams, don't get me wrong, but the first half was still pretty ugly, in my opinion. So I still want to see more. I want to see them continue to play good football.
Agreed.
And I really think that right now, given what the rest of the schedule looks like, I think this team could go 11-6. I think that's an absolutely fair and objective sort of thing right there.
Matt Hyde says 12-5. Young Noticeable says 9-8. Parker says 10-7. The best in the world, CM Punk says 10-7.
Oh, we got King Yinzer in the chat.
Wait,
Anthony Fuller.
Oh, there he is. He says 16-2 if we fire Canada. Well, they only play 17 games.
Yeah, they only play 17 games.
15-2,
so
they can win out.
15-2, I think is what he means.
I love it.
I love it, man. I love it.
Cassie is here. She says someone tried to hit on her at Sam's Club again.
Oh, man. Babe,
what are you going to do about it?
Babe, if you took a picture of him, I'll go to Sam's Club and beat his ass.
I love it.
He's going down.
GM Evan Hinder says 8-1. Braylon says 10-7. It seems like 10-7 is kind of the consensus of where they're at right now.
Yeah, I could see 10-7. You know, let's face it, the offense maybe isn't the best. You know, but I still think it's serviceable, especially if Kenny Pickett continues to play well with Deontay Johnson back. But, you know, I don't necessarily see the Steelers as a Super Bowl contender at this point. I hope that changes. The offense is going to have to continue to grow as the season goes on for me to really put them in that category. But are they a playoff contender? 100%. This team could absolutely get to the playoffs. The defense is great. TJ Watt's looking like a defensive player of the year. Hopefully Kenny continues to play well with Deontay Johnson back in the lineup. And by season's end, Cam Hayward's going to be back. He's going to be out a couple more weeks. I see some people asking about Cam. Still dealing with that groin injury, dealing with the rehab.
After the Titans game, the week after that, I think he could be back.
Yeah, I think so. I think the week after the Titans game, the team gets a nice little
because
break
they have
there.
Thursday Night Football, so they have basically a week and a half off.
Right, absolutely right. We got a $5 super chat here from Just Webb's World. He's been busy to start here.
Let's go, baby.
He says, I have been leading the Addison hype train because the Steelers said that they are not sure if Jones can start this year. Should we be concerned? I mean, a little bit. I mean, so Jones has already played a little bit. Two games.
He was better than Dan Moore Jr.
And he was technically playing better than Dan Moore Jr. Now, Dan actually had a pretty decent week last week versus the Rams, but the Rams don't have any edge rushers. They have zero edge rush talent. So, I'm not super impressed with Dan Moore Jr. so far this season. I was more impressed with Broderick Jones when I went through the film in those two games. I think Broderick Jones should be the starting left tackle. I would consider trading Dan Moore Jr. if we could find a sucker to take him.
Agreed.
And yes, I mean, if you trade up for this guy, he should be able to play, right? Especially if Dan Moore Jr. isn't playing well. I say 100% start Broderick Jones, try to find a new home for Dan Moore Jr., and maybe Omar Khan, the con artist, can find some nice draft compensation for him. So Just Webb's World just got done sending in a couple of super chats. I think he's put in about $17. If you want to super chat and help us make more Steelers content here on Steelers Talk, here's a nice super chat menu of items that you can purchase with your super chats. If you're a first-time super chatter, we got 113 people watching. If you're somebody that has never super chatted on the show before, we're going to do this for you. Woo! Some Ric Flair drip, 2 claps, and a woo. Then $5, you're going to enter the T-shirt raffle that we're going to do this Sunday for our live watch party. We're going to be going live at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, an hour of pregame, followed by live play-by-play.
So Just Webb's World, you're already in that raffle, my friend.
So Just Webb's World, make sure you tune in on Sunday because you're in that raffle. Every $10 super chat, we'll do the Oh Canada song. If you guys haven't heard the Oh Canada song.
Which we will do.
That's right. We're going to be singing one here in just a second. It's pretty darn good. And then also, here on the Steelers Talk hard hat, here at Steelers Talk, we put on our hard hats on Sunday, and we go to work. Right now, there's just a little bit of space left, all right? So if you want to get your name on our hard hat this season, there's only a couple of spots left. $20, you can get your name right here on the helmet. And if your name is already on there, then you can pick somebody else's name to put on there. You can be a good Samaritan that way. And then if you spend $100 total today on Steelers Talk, you get to join Steelers Talk Gold Club. You get 3 raffle entries instead of just 1 for every raffle that you enter. And then also you get a Super Chat sticker with your Super Chats every time you Super Chat. So let's give a shout out here as we do every live show for our Gold Club members. Austin Tardif, Mo Love, Brian Love, Anthony Fuller, Nathan Glass, James Lombardo, DJ V, Patty Gustafson, Elliptic 6, Alexander Watson, Zach Eckert, Troy Hart, Andrew Longoria, Jesse Johnson, Go Blue Buckeye, Samuel Pugh, Hot Rod 24, Black and Gold Emperor 40, Lord Buddy Bear, Max Payne, Chad Corley, F1 Video Watcher, Steelers Dad, and Jesper Tarkelson, our newest member of Steelers Talk Gold Club. So give it up for the Gold Club members. If you want a shout out on every single Steelers Talk live show, as well as extra raffle entries and an awesome Super Chat sticker every time you Super Chat, $100 on today's show. And Coop, I'm actually going to say this. Last week we did something kind of fun where if we got a $100 Super Chat, I would go to the ALCS Game 3 with a Fire Matt Canada sign.
You did.
And Steelers Dad joined Steelers Talk Gold Club here with a $100 Super Chat. This week, if we get a $100 Super Chat and somebody joins Steelers Talk Gold Club, I am personally going to tweet out Antonio Brown on Twitter, and I'm going to ask him to join us right here on Steelers Talk, all right? So if you want me to do that, you want me to tweet out Antonio Brown, try to get him on the show here, $100 Super Chat, and I'll do it. All right, so I want to give a little bit of an update here. First, what's up?
We need to sing Oh Canada.
That's right. All right, so we need to sing Oh Canada for my man, Just Webb's World here. Oh Canada, you dumb and stupid man. All know you suck except for Mike Tomlin. With burning hearts we see you suck, calling jet sweeps 1, 2, 3. From far and wide, oh Canada, we share our hate for thee. F-U-C-K, Canada! Canada sucks. We all know it.
We all know it, and so do the Baltimore Ravens, by the way.
So do the Baltimore Ravens. And, I've had a couple people ask me because I said on our Sunday watch party against the Rams that I would burn a Ravens hat if we got to $1,000 in Super Chats. We got there, and I haven't burned the hat yet because here in Dallas, we've had some terrible weather. It's been too windy. It's been too rainy. We're still waiting for the right day to burn that hat. So I will keep you guys updated. We have the hat. We're ready to burn it whenever whenever the weather permits here. But just so you guys know, we are still doing that, and we're still planning on burning that Ravens hat. And you know what? I want to up the ante here, okay? Because we hate the Cleveland Browns as well. So here's what I'm going to say. If I can catch up to our Browns host here at Chat Sports and Twitter followers this week, Matthew Peterson, our Browns host, is sitting at about 1,400 followers on Twitter. I'm sitting at 781. If I can catch up to Peterson here by the end of the week, I will burn a Cleveland Browns hat to go along with the Baltimore Ravens hat, all right? So if you want a place to go get additional Steelers content on X or Twitter, whatever you guys want to call it, I do film study on there. I do news updates, channel updates on my Twitter. If you haven't already and you're a real one here of Steelers Talk and you want to help me catch up to Matthew Peterson, I would be so honored if you would give me a follow on Twitter. I am at Jack_Sperry. Let's catch up and let's pass him this week. That is my goal.
And you're going to tweet Antonio Brown.
And I'm going to tweet Antonio Brown if we get a $100 Super Chat. All right, so you're not going to want to miss that. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're about to get into our first segment, okay? So for the next 60 seconds, spam W in the chat, all right? So I'm going to put somebody on the Hard Hat Hall of Fame here 100% free of charge, but only one person, all right? So I need everybody to spam W in the chat. Whoever puts it in there the most is going to get their name on the Hard Hat today.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Get
Look
those
at it
W's
go,
in the chat. Come on, for the next minute. Who can do it the most? Spam those W's.
The Steelers get dubs, we get dubs.
That's right. The Steelers have 4 dubs. How many dubs can we put in there? Look at all that. I see Elliptic 6 in there. I see Illusion Aviator. I see Anthony Brown. I see King Yinzer. I see Matt Hyde. I see James. I see Young Noticeable in there. I see Matt Hyde. Keep them coming, people. I got Pittsburgh Steelers Fan 8. I got James. I got another James. There's multiple Jameses.
I already got a winner.
Lay it on me.
Parker Dogs and Rabbits.
Parker.
He wins.
Parker Dogs.
Guy's been a goat.
Parker Dogs and Rabbits. You get your name here on the Steelers.
Let's go, Parker.
Let's go, Parker.
Appreciate you joining us today.
Okay, man. Your name is now on the hard hat. Give it up for Parker in the chat. Let's go, man. That's a great way to start today's show. Right now, we got about 70 people watching, guys.
The Rams.
But right now, we're at 31 likes. Can we get to 40 likes before we get into our first segment today? Please, can we get to 40 likes here right before we get going? We need 8 more likes. My bosses are telling me we cannot start our first segment without getting to 40 likes.
My bad.
We did not get there, Coop.
No, I know. It said want the Steelers to beat the Rams, so I changed it.
Oh, I see what you mean.
We don't play the Rams.
There we go. We got to 40.
Took care of them.
That's right. On to Jacksonville now, Coop. On to Jacksonville.
Or, as Bill Belichick would say,
we're on to Cincinnati. All right, here we go, guys. We're going to get into our first segment here today. Coop, are we ready to get things going?
Let's see here. Hang on.
Because I'm juiced to get these Steelers trade rumors going.
We could tell you were juiced by the way you started the show.
Oh, yeah, man. Oh, yeah. I'm feeling the juice today. I can't wait to bring it. All right, so coming up here, we got the latest Steelers news and rumors, including a couple of different trade rumors. I'm going to tell you why the Steelers probably won't trade for Patrick Surtain. But later in today's show, I've got 4 trade predictions that I think have a real chance of actually happening before next week's trade deadline. And then don't forget, use hashtag Steelers or Super Chat to get your questions on today's Steelers Talk Live mailbag. Coop, are we ready to get things going?
Yes. Pittsburgh Fan 8 says he loves my Maverick shirt. Thank you, Pittsburgh Fan 8. I appreciate it.
Yeah, Mavs open up their season against Wemby and the Spurs tonight. I'm going to be watching that one.
You're Wemby's long-lost cousin.
Yes, I am. All right, here we go. Let's get into the Steelers news and rumors coming at you right now. Today's Steelers Talk video is sponsored by Hexclad. Get 10% off some premium cookware today at hexclad.com/chatsports. And welcome in to Steelers Talk. And on today's show, I'm going to be talking about Patrick Surtain and why the Pittsburgh Steelers are probably not going to make him a Pittsburgh Steeler moving forward. Also, I'm going to tell you whether or not the Steelers will trade for Justin Simmons. That's been a recent rumor thrown around lately. And then also, Patrick Peterson has a new role in Mike Tomlin's defense. It seems like Tomlin, Teryl Austin, they've made an adjustment here on defense with Patrick Peterson. Going to let you know what that is later in today's show, so make sure you stick around. Before we get into today's news and rumors action, make sure you click that thumbs up icon and like today's video. It really does help us out here at Pittsburgh Steelers Talk. Tells the YouTube algorithm to push this video out to other Steelers fans like yourselves. So with that, let's get into today's action, starting with Patrick Surtain, who is definitely the number one name that's thrown around the most in Steelers Twitter right now, and definitely the intrigue is there, right? Somebody that was a really highly touted guy out of Alabama coming out a few seasons ago, somebody that was one of the highest graded corners in the National Football League last year, and people are thinking, hey, let's pair Patrick Surtain up with Joey Porter Jr. for the next decade and really lock up the cornerback spot. However, I'm not sure it's going to happen, guys, and here are some of the reasons why. Patrick Surtain right now is only 23 years old, and he is a bona fide star at the cornerback position, a true lockdown number one corner right now, still on his rookie contract. So you combine all those things, you get an extremely valuable trade asset for the Denver Broncos. And Denver's going to be rebuilding. I mean, having a guy like Patrick Surtain as their number one guy in that secondary is going to be so important for them to try to get back to their winning ways. And I really don't think that they're going to trade him for anything less than 2 first-round picks. The Steelers also would probably want to keep their first-round picks moving forward to keep their options at quarterback. Now, before you crucify me for even suggesting that the Steelers will replace Kenny Pickett next offseason, I understand that he played better against the Rams last week, but overall this season, these numbers are inescapable. The catchable percentage, 35th in the National Football League. He's one of the least accurate quarterbacks to this point. He's 28th in on-target percentage, which is a little bit better, but still not great. The big-time throw percentage sitting at just 3.1, which is 24th in the league. He's doing a decent job at staying away from turnovers with 15th in turnover-worthy play percentage, but then an overall value. Right now, out of 36 quarterbacks, Kenny Pickett is the least valuable quarterback in the National Football League with at least 50 pass attempts right now with negative 11.1 points above replacement. That is just straight up garbage, guys. I'm not going to lie to you. Now, am I giving up on Kenny Pickett to this point? No, not by any means. I think he played better against the Rams. I'm hoping that as the season goes on and with Jaylon Johnson back in the lineup here, that Kenny's going to prove himself to be the franchise quarterback of this team. However, you have to keep in mind that there's a possibility that he just straight up stinks for the rest of the season. There is that possibility. And if that happens, you're going to want those 2 first-round picks that it's going to take to trade for Patrick Surtain to go and get a new quarterback, right? If you give up your first-round pick in 2024 and 2025, that significantly hinders your ability to go out and trade for a quarterback before the draft or trade up for a quarterback in the NFL draft. It's just going to be a lot harder to replace Kenny Pickett if you make a deal like this for a cornerback. So although I like the idea of going out and getting a guy like Patrick Surtain who would make the Steelers defense pretty much unstoppable at this point, I don't think the price is worth it for the Steelers, and I don't think Pittsburgh is really going to consider Patrick Surtain a legitimate trade candidate here or trade target for them as Tuesday's deadline approaches. But let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section. Would you trade 2 first-round picks to get Patrick Surtain in the black and gold? Type A if you're accepting this if you're Omar Khan, or type D if you're going to decline it. This is also going to be the pinned comment on today's show, so YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. When that happens, take advantage of that time by answering today's pinned question. Now, another name on the Denver Broncos that has been thrown around Steelers Twitter in terms of a trade target over the last couple of days is free safety Justin Simmons, and even Sports Illustrated has predicted that the Steelers will go out and trade for Simmons before Tuesday's deadline. Their projection here is that the Steelers will send a 3rd-round pick to the Denver Broncos for Justin Simmons, one of the best free safeties in the National Football League. And this is what Sports Illustrated's author Connor Orr has to say about this potential trade. While this may seem odd, given that the Steelers are settled at the position, Simmons could break open the defense and allow all of its component parts to spread their wings. Safeties are valuable, especially rangy ones, in a division where the more physical the secondary, the better its chances of survival. Pittsburgh is not one offensive upgrade away from becoming an elite offense, but Simmons could get the Steelers to the territory where, if Pittsburgh makes the playoffs as a low seed, it would have a better chance of completely upending an opponent by showing them something they haven't shown them all season, or simply overwhelming them with experience in the secondary and creating that critical turnover. So coming up here, I'm going to give you my thoughts on potentially trading for Justin Simmons. But before that, I want to tell you about today's sponsor at HexClad. You can get 10% off at hexclad.com/chatsports. And let me tell you, man, these pans are absolutely fantastic. HexClad has revolutionized the cookware industry with a hybrid pan that gives you all the convenience and cleanup of a nonstick, the versatility of your grandma's cast iron, and a lifetime warranty just in case you find a way to destroy them. Go to hexclad.com/chatsports for 10% off today. HexClad truly checks every single box when it comes to picking your cookware. They are metal utensil safe, dishwasher safe, and oven safe up to 500 degrees. But don't just take my word for it. Celebrity chef Gordon Ramsay uses HexClad in his very own home kitchen. This is what Gordon has to say about HexClad. The sear I can get with these pans is incredible with absolutely no stick. The temperature control is utter perfection, and the cleanup is effortless. I love using HexClad at home. And let me tell you guys something, man. These things are the sexiest pans on the market. This is my very own HexClad pan. I pan-seared steak on this baby just last night with my girlfriend, Cassie. And look at this thing. It looks like it's coming right out of the box. Super easy to clean. Looks brand new every time you use it. And by the way, I made the best steaks of my life using this pan. Just ask Cassie. Don't score points at home today. It's time to stop ordering delivery food and start cooking like a big boy with HexClad today. Real cuisine isn't made in a microwave. It's cooked in a HexClad. So for a limited time only, get 10% off with our special link, hexclad.com/chatsports. That's 10% off at hexclad.com/chatsports. So when it comes to trading for a safety, Justin Simmons is not at the top of my list. There's a couple of different safeties that are more versatile, that can play in the box, that can play in the slot, that I'm more interested in than Justin Simmons. And safety overall is not a position that I'm really holding in that high of a priority. There's other positions I'd rather go get. But if Omar Khan and Mike Tomlin want to go get a safety, I'd rather have Jeremy Chinn and Xavier McKinney. Chinn is, of course, playing for the Panthers, and McKinney is currently with the New York Giants. And, you know, that begs the question, why not Justin Simmons? Why these guys over Justin Simmons? And the simple answer here is versatility. Right now, Justin Simmons is more of just a true free safety, somebody that roams out there, somebody that's more of a center field player, whereas Jeremy Chinn, those guys are bigger bodies. Those guys can play a hybrid linebacker role. They can play in the slot as a slot defender. You know, I think Justin may survive in the slot. He's probably not going to be more of a true strong safety. The versatility is not quite there. And then also, that's not even to mention that Justin Simmons' contract is completely undoable, in my opinion, for the Pittsburgh Steelers at this point. Right now, if you're the Steelers, you've got just under $3 million in available cap space for the 2023 season, and adding that $14.4 million base salary is just not going to be feasible for the Steelers this year, even if it does come at a prorated rate at the NFL trade deadline. And overall, when I look at this situation, I want Minkah Fitzpatrick to go back to playing free safety. So if I'm going to be adding somebody to come into this equation here, I want somebody that's going to be playing strong safety, somebody that's going to be playing slot corner at times, right? Because I want Minkah Fitzpatrick to be that true free safety, that ball hawk in the middle of the defense, and that's really where he's at his best. Minkah is definitely the best safety in football when he's allowed to F stuff up from the free safety position. Right now, the Steelers are using him more as a strong safety / slot corner, and he's good at that, but not quite as much. So the way I'm looking at it right now, if we're bringing in a safety, I don't want a free safety. I want a versatile chess piece here on defense, strong safety / slot corner / strong safety. All right, so now, speaking of the defense and speaking of role changes, because we've seen Minkah Fitzpatrick's role kind of change as the weeks have gone on. He's been going to play more free safety like he has in past years, to playing more in the box, to playing in the slot. And they're doing something very similar right now with Patrick Peterson, who has not had the best start to his 2023 campaign on the outside. We know this about Patrick Peterson. He just hasn't, he's looked a little old. He's looked a little slow to this point in the year. And right now the Steelers are kind of using him in a new role, which is the quote-unquote Cam Sutton role. He's playing more safety. He's playing more in the slot. He's still playing outside, but he's kind of playing everywhere. And, of course, that's what the Steelers did with Cam Sutton. And, you know, when you're going to have a player like this in this role, I definitely miss Cam Sutton at this point, guys. I really do, because I think Sutton does it better than Patrick Peterson, and he really isn't that much more expensive than Patrick Peterson. I know the Steelers got a little bit of a discount to bring Patrick Peterson in instead of re-signing Cam Sutton, but I would much rather pay the little bit of extra money for Sutton than Patrick Peterson at this point in their respective careers. With the Detroit Lions right now, Cam Sutton is getting a 67.0 PFF grade. That's actually the other Cam Sutton on the Seahawks, not the one on the Detroit Lions. So sorry for that graphic mix-up there. But right now, he's playing better than Patrick Peterson to this point. And by the way, Patrick Peterson is not the 38th ranked cornerback. He is the 88th ranked cornerback right now. So Sutton is way above Patrick Peterson at this point in his NFL career, in my opinion. And if all it took was just to give Cam Sutton a couple more $1 million, I probably would have done that. That's probably the biggest mistake that Omar Khan and the Steelers front office made this offseason, at least in my opinion. So let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. Should the Steelers have paid Cam Sutton that $11 million per season that Detroit gave him? Give me a yes or give me a no down there in the comments section, and let me know what you think. That'll be it for today's show, Steelers fans. Thank you so much for all of your support. For more Steelers news and rumors action throughout the week leading up to the NFL trade deadline, and if the Steelers make a move, we're going to be having a video. So make sure you click that subscribe button right now to not miss a thing. All right, Coop, that is one down. Let's get to some of the other ones here.
Parker says he loves Steelers Talk by Chat Sports.
Love you, Parker. You're the best, man.
And Young Noticeable, yeah, that's an F me on that graphic. That's my B. I didn't know there were two Cam Suttons either.
Yeah, there's two Cam Suttons. I should have mentioned that.
Who's the other one?
He's like, I think he's like a tight end for Seattle.
Is he a stiff?
Yeah, he's a stiff. He sucks. And like, I don't know why in our graphics building software, Cam Sutton on the Seahawks takes a precedent over Cam Sutton on the Lions. It just doesn't make much sense.
That makes no sense. We can talk to our bosses about that.
We can talk to our bosses, man, okay? So pretty much right now, coming up here, we're going to be doing our Steelers Talk live mailbag. So if you want to get a Steelers question on today's show, use hashtag Steelers, all right? Use hashtag Steelers or Super Chat to get on today's show. I think we've got a couple questions.
Yes, we already have some in the chamber. Let's get a few more, though.
Let's get a couple more, Coop says. Let's get a couple more questions. If you got a trade idea, if you've got a question, if you want to ask me why I think Kenny Pickett might be replaced next offseason, just let me know down there in the comment section.
Do you think he will?
I'm not putting – I wouldn't put my money on it, but at this point it's a possibility.
Percentage.
We'll get to that in the mailbag, all right? We'll get to that in the mailbag, my friend.
That's what they call a tease in the biz.
That's right. All right. I see Anthony Fuller's getting his question in there. Let me know. All right, $5, you get entered into this week's T-shirt raffle. $10, we'll sing the "O Canada" song. $20, you get your name on the hard hat. And then if you send in $100, I will tweet at Antonio Brown. Okay, I will send a tweet out asking him to come on Steelers Talk. All right. So if somebody wants to be a Steelers Talk legend today and send in a 100. I'll ask AB to come on the show.
Imagine Antonio Brown being on this show.
Imagine if he said yes. Just imagine it.
The problem is, we might get banned from YouTube because of the things he might say.
Yeah, that's definitely taking a risk right there, man. I'm not going to lie. We still need a couple more questions. So if you're one of the 108 people still here, let's get this thing going, man. I can't wait to answer some questions. Trade deadline's coming up here.
A week from 6 days from now. Halloween.
What's that?
6 days from now.
Yeah, 6 days from now. Halloween. You know what? I think I've just thought of a perfect Super Chat MVP promotion for this weekend.
Goodness.
I'm not going to reveal it here. I just thought of the best idea I've ever thought of in my entire life. All right. So
in your life?
in my life. It's the best idea I've ever had. All right, so make sure you tune in 12 p.m. Eastern time on Sunday.
Ask that same question, but no space in between hashtag and Steelers. That's a great question, but ask with no space.
So T Hardone, if you didn't hear that, use hashtag Steelers, not hashtag Space Steelers. All right. Really do appreciate everybody getting those questions in. Make sure you tune in to the Steelers Talk live watch party on Sunday for the best idea that I've literally ever had in my entire life.
I'm curious to see what this is once we get off air now. So,
all right, well, we better get things going, huh, Coop? Do we have enough questions?
Yeah, we're good to go.
All right, we're ready to get things going here. Get those super chats in here. Really do appreciate all of your guys' support. So let's get into this mailbag starting right now. It is week 8 in the NFL, and today here on Steelers Talk, I'm going to be answering your questions on the black and gold. So let's just jump right into it here. But before we get into that, make sure you click that thumbs up icon and like today's video. Our goal is to get to 300 likes within the first 60 minutes of this video getting out. So if you're watching this, you got your notifications turned on, and you're a real one, click that thumbs up icon for me right now. And now I'll pause for questions. And Matt Hyde comes in here and says, here's a trade I would do. Okorafor and a 4th-round pick to Denver for Surtain. Well, here's the thing, Matt. I would probably do that too. But here's the thing. It's not going to happen. I mean, you look at Patrick Surtain and the kind of player that he is. He is a star player. He's 23 years old. He's on his rookie contract. The only way that this Denver's going to let him go and not make him a cornerstone of their upcoming rebuild is at least 2 first-round picks. And it might be more than that. It might be 2 firsts and like a third. It might be 2 firsts and a player. Like, he's going to be extremely, extremely expensive. Okorafor and a 4th just simply is not going to get the job done. A below-average starting offensive tackle and then a day 3 draft pick. I mean, I don't know if this is a troll. I don't know if like this is just like a joke. But that's just not going to happen, man. If you want Patrick Surtain, you're going to have to give up 2 first-rounders for him. I think that's just the long short of it. Then we got one from Parker Dogs and Rabbits here. He says, do you think we will make wild card and win or no? Here's the thing, man. I think that the Steelers are going to be right there in the thick of it, just like they were last year for a wild card spot. Right now, I wouldn't say that they're necessarily favorites to win the AFC North. The Ravens are playing still real well. The Bengals are going to get healthy here. They just had their bye last week. The Browns are winning football games. I think the Steelers are better than the Browns. I still think the Steelers will be playoff contenders for sure. But at the end of the day, it's hard to predict whether a team will win or lose come playoff time, especially in Week 8, right? So I don't really have an answer to that, yes or no. Could they win a playoff game? 100%. Mike Tomlin gets this team ready to go, and Kenny Pickett plays his ass off. The defense, gets a couple turnovers. Anything can happen in the playoffs. It's one and done. So I'm going to go ahead and say yes to this question. Then we got one from Illusion Aviator here. He says, besides a cornerback/safety, do you think we should trade for any other player/position? So I think there's a couple different possibilities. I think offensive tackle, if Trent Brown from the Patriots is available, I think he's pretty interesting. Running back would be interesting. I'm not sure if the Steelers will move off Najee. I would say probably not, but running back would definitely be a huge splash move, especially if it's for a guy like Derrick Henry or Saquon Barkley, somebody like that. And then also linebacker, maybe. Maybe if you can get a deal for like a Patrick Queen, even though I don't think the Ravens would move him in division. Josie Jewell from the Denver Broncos might be an interesting one. So there's definitely some possibilities out there. Not quite sure if I really do think cornerback/safety is probably going to be that number 1 priority for the Steelers here going into the trade deadline. Then we got on from First Don Steelers. Love that name, man. He goes, should the Steelers trade for another defensive tackle before the trade deadline like Aaron Donald, Jonathan Allen, or Leonard Williams to make up for the Cam Hayward injury? Now, I don't think so here. First Don Steelers, you got Montravius Adams, who's playing a lot better than he did last year at nose tackle. Keanu Benton has come in and played quite a bit. He's played really, really well. And then also Larry Ogunjobi. Larry Ogunjobi's playing well as well. So I don't really see the need to go out and trade for another big name. First of all, the Rams aren't trading Aaron Donald. I don't think that's happening. I don't think Jonathan Allen's going to get traded from Washington unless he demands a trade. And he might, but at this point, I really don't think so. I know he said some things about the Commanders last week after the Giants game, but I think that's more just frustration, post-game frustration. And then Leonard Williams, he's going to be available on the market, but is he really worth getting, knowing that Cam Hayward's coming back this year? I would argue no, but let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. Should the Steelers trade for a defensive tackle? Give me a yes or give me a no. And this is going to be the pinned comment on today's show. So YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. When that happens, take advantage of that time by giving me a yes or no down there in the comments. All right, now we got one from Young Noticeable here, and he goes, what do you think about Judy getting traded from the Broncos? So unless I'm missing something, I don't think he has been traded, but he's asking, what do you think about him potentially getting traded from the Denver Broncos? I think it's probably going to happen. He's a good route runner, not really great hands. He's had some drop issues. He's not really good. He's not really good in contested situations. So, there's definitely teams out there that are going to see him as a valuable trade piece. I'm not sure how much the Broncos are going to get for him. If I were an NFL GM, I'm probably not giving up more than like fourth-round pick at the absolute most for this guy, just because he doesn't bring the complete package when it comes to a wide receiver. So I think there's teams that are going to be interested. It's going to be interesting to see where he ends up. I do think he will end up getting traded, though. Then we got one from King Yinzer. We are not worthy. Anthony Fuller. He goes, who should be let go first this offseason? Levi Wallace or Matt Canada? Anthony should already know the answer to this question. It should be Matt Canada, because they should be letting go of Matt Canada right now. I mean, goodness gracious, they've already committed to him for the entire season. It's an absolute joke. The first move, right when you get off the field, week 17, if you're not in the playoffs, you go right up to Matt Canada right when he gets off the Acrisure turf, and you say, pack your things, you're walking home tonight. All right, you're out of here. You're already fired. All right, that's the first thing this Steelers team should do is say, Matt Canada, see ya, you're out of here. Then we got one from Steel City Yinzers here. He says, what % chance do you give Kenny Pickett to be the Steelers starting quarterback in 2024? So if you guys have watched the show before, you guys know that I don't think it's a done deal that Kenny Pickett will be the starting quarterback for this team next year. In terms of giving it a percentage, I'll say that I will give him a 70% chance of being the starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers the start of next season. The numbers have not been great to this point. The film, not been great either, right? The second half of the Rams game this past weekend was pretty darn solid. Three touchdowns that he led the offense to. So overall, I do like what I saw from this offense second half versus the Rams, but one half of football is not going to be enough for me to completely convince me. I want to see him get better progressively as the season goes on. And by the way, I think he's perfectly capable of doing that. Deontay Johnson's back from his injury. George Pickens is balling out. We're eventually going to get Muth back at the tight end position. I think overall Kenny's got what it takes, especially in the clutch factor, right? Playing in the fourth quarter, winning football games, making those big-time throws. Like, he's got the moxie to be a starting NFL quarterback, but the overall production does need to improve, in my opinion. And if it stays where it's at right now, I think he's 35th in accuracy, 36th in overall value. There's at least 4 other backup quarterbacks in the National Football League that are more valuable right now than Kenny Pickett. That's just a reality, a sabermetric reality at this point. And listen, Kenny's got everything in front of him. I'm not ready to give up on him, but there's definitely a chance, and I'm going to say a 30% chance that Kenny Pickett isn't the guy lacing it up for the black and gold at the start of 2024. But let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. Are you one of those people that's 150% sure that Kenny Pickett is going to be the starter next year? Let me know down there in the comments section. Give me a 0 to 100 ranking here of the percent chance that Kenny Pickett is the Steelers quarterback heading into the 2024 season next year. And now let's talk about our sponsor today, BetUS. Chatsports.com/bet and promo code Steelers125 to get yourself a 125% deposit bonus today on deposits of $100 to $600. Now, you might be asking yourself, what the heck is a deposit bonus, Jack? What that means is, let's say you put in $100 on the BetUS website. Use promo code Steelers125 at chatsports.com/bet. They're going to give you $125 additional dollars to use on your bets free of charge. So it's a $225 value for just a $100 investment. If you love sports betting, this is a deal that you're not going to want to miss. Go to chatsports.com/bet and use promo code Steelers125 to get that deposit bonus today. All right, so now GM Ev says trade for Edwards-Helaire. How about no? No. I mean, with respect to Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I think Jaylen Warren is a better running back than Clyde Edwards-Helaire at this point. Now, maybe if you trade away Najee Harris and you don't get a running back in that trade, then maybe you go get Clyde Edwards-Helaire as like a number 2 option to Jaylen Warren. But overall, personally, don't love that option personally, GM Ev. But I guess we'll have to see when the time comes. Then we got one from Brian Timmons here. He says, between Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, and Josh Jacobs, who should the Steelers target via trade? So we actually broke this down on the show a couple of shows ago where I broke down the stats of all of these guys. There's definitely pros and cons. Derrick Henry, I think, is the most productive right now. Josh Jacobs has the combination of both youth. He's 25, mixed with the fact that he was just the rushing leader last year. And then Saquon Barkley, I mean, he's been explosive as well, and he's still only 26 there with the New York Giants. Now, I don't think the Giants are necessarily shopping Saquon. I guess we'll have to wait and see on that. The rumors are getting a bit spicy with Saquon. But overall, if I have to give one answer to this, I'd probably go with Derrick Henry right now. 29 years old. He's ready to carry an offense right now. If you're the Steelers and you're looking for a running back to replace Najee Harris, I mean, Derrick Henry's the type of guy that can go in and completely carry an NFL offense right away. I know that he's 29. I know that the tread might not be there in a couple more years. But, hey, you have a couple years to figure out the quarterback situation. And by the time he's gone, hopefully you have a legitimate franchise quarterback at that point in time. But let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section. Pick a running back 1 for the future here in Pittsburgh. Type SB for Saquon Barkley, DH for Derrick Henry, JJ for Josh Jacobs, or if you're cool with sticking with Najee Harris, and by the way, I think it's probably the most likely scenario for the Steelers, type NH down there in the comments. Then we got one from Big Bill here. He says, I feel like we are more likely to get another offensive lineman than trading for a cornerback. The only reason why I disagree with you there, Bill, is offensive linemen are really tough to trade for. Usually because there's 5 spots on the offensive line, if you have good players on your offensive line, even as backups, you want to keep them, right? You want to keep them because offensive line depth is super important. Injuries happen all the time. So, I think that there's a couple of pretty darn good players available. Garrett Bowles with Denver, he's got a big base salary, so that's probably not realistic for the Steelers. But then Trent Brown, I think, is really that offensive tackle from the Patriots that could be a real option. He's got a low base salary. He's doing really well right now. He's the second highest graded tackle in football. If the Steelers want to send like a 4th-round pick, maybe another player, maybe trade Chucks along with him, I think that's something that could absolutely work for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But, at the end of the day, it's going to be tough because there's going to be a lot of teams vying for Trent Brown's services, and that's even if New England wants to trade him. So if you can't get Trent Brown, your options are pretty limited, whereas in the cornerback and safety department, there's a lot more players up for grabs. So that'll be it for today's mailbag. Thank you to everybody that submitted questions this week. If you want to join the most interactive Steelers community here on YouTube, make sure you click that subscribe button. We've added over 2,000 subscribers in just the past 2 weeks, people. It's been absolutely fantastic. We're the fastest growing Steelers channel here on the YouTube platform. So get in on the party right now. Click that subscribe button. And you might get your question on next week's mailbag. All right, Coop, one more to go here.
One more.
Trade predictions coming up next.
This is spicy.
You are not going to want to go anywhere here. But let me know. Coop, I gave you my answer, 70%
you said 70.
chance.
I would say it's a little more than that. I'm going to go around 80 just because it's so hard to upgrade a quarterback in this league.
It is. You're not wrong in that.
Look, are you signing Kirk Cousins in free agency? Is that an upgrade on Kenny Pickett significantly?
Did you watch him on Monday Night Football?
I did. He was good.
And he didn't have Justin Jefferson.
No, he did not.
He looked great.
If you think that's an upgrade on Kenny Pickett, then
Kirk Cousins is probably a top 10 quarterback in this league right now.
You think top 10?
Here's the thing with Kirk Cousins. He has carried that offense on his back this year.
For sure.
The defense knows he's throwing the football on almost every play.
And he's still doing it.
The Vikings have no run game. How many quarterbacks in this league do you know that can line up there consistently with the defense knowing he's throwing and still get over 380 yards per game?
The list is pretty short.
It's pretty short, all right? It's definitely not 10 names long. So that's why I probably have Kirk Cousins in my top 10 right now. Would it work with the Pittsburgh Steelers? That's up for debate.
Tell me who the offensive coordinator is.
Tell me who the offensive coordinator is right. And by the way, if you get Cousins, I think you probably have to go in that McVay-Shanahan tree because Kirk Cousins has literally only played in the West Coast offense his entire career. He went from the Redskins, where it was Jay Gruden and the West Coast offense there. Then he went to Minnesota, where it was a bunch of different West Coast systems, right?
Can I interest you in Mike McCarthy?
No!
I love it.
Oh, my goodness, man. I know he's from Pittsburgh, but no.
He's from Pittsburgh and runs West Coast?
I mean, it's a very old school version of West Coast. He's got like the Bill Walsh system there in Dallas right now.
It's ancient.
It's like first generation West Coast offense. It's not good at all. Now, listen, I'm not giving up on Kenny.
No, I'm not either.
I think he's got a lot of really good qualities that you want in your quarterback. He's a good playmaker. He's good. He's really good throwing on the run. It's something that's really, especially to his left. Not a lot of guys can do that.
I think he's got some intangibles. I think the guys like him.
100%. He's a leader. He works hard. He's a great kid. But the overall production does need to improve. I mean, the accuracy needs to get a lot better. He's 35th in catchable ball percentage. There's at least
last I checked, there are 32 teams in the NFL.
That means that there is at least 4 backups in this league with higher catchable ball percentages with 50 or more dropbacks than Kenny Pickett.
Not good, Bob.
That's embarrassing for Kenny. I mean, it just is. Now, he did play better against the Rams. All right? I'm just trying to take an objective approach here because it's my job to be an objective observer here.
I feel you.
And tell you guys what I really think.
I'm happy says 69% chance.
Nice. I mean, 69 is probably pretty good because, it really does depend on the offensive coordinator you're bringing in, your draft position, and then what's available via trade on the open market next year. Because every single year, there's like 2 or 3 quarterbacks that we don't expect to demand a trade that want out. So there might be an opportunity there for the Steelers. And listen, you're going to want those 2 first-round picks.
I'll tell you this.
That you would have to spend for Patrick Surtain.
If it's Matt Canada, the Steelers will not trade for or sign a QB because no one will want to come play for him.
Yeah, and like I said, I want Kenny Pickett to be the starting quarterback here next year. I'm just saying you want the 2 first-round picks.
Yeah, you need the 2 first-round picks.
Because you need to keep your options open at this point. Because if Kenny finishes the year 35th in accuracy and 36th, dead last in overall value via points above replacement.
That's BS.
You got to replace him.
Yeah.
You do. Now, I think I think it's going to get better. Okay? I do. I think it's going to get better. But is it guaranteed to get better? It's not. If you're sitting there and saying there's 100% chance that Kenny Pickett will be the starting quarterback next year, I think you're dead wrong. It's not 100% right now.
I don't think he's going anywhere, but it's not 100%.
Right, exactly. That's exactly the point I'm saying right here. I do think that you want to keep your options open in terms of your first-round picks. Because even if you're not spending that on a quarterback, you want to spend it on a corner like a Kool-Aid, right?
You don't want to go spend it on Pat Surtain. He's a great corner, but to dissolve all your assets like that for Surtain's
the
not
next
a good idea.
2 first-round draft picks, there's people that trade up for quarterbacks in the first round that don't give up 2 firsts, right?
Surtain's a great player.
Surtain's a great player. I love him. He would make this defense pretty much unstoppable.
But you don't trade 2 firsts.
But you don't trade 2 firsts because you can have as good a defense as you want. If Kenny Pickett remains the 36th best quarterback in the football,
unsustainable.
It's unsustainable. You need the quarterback you need to get the quarterback right. And I think he's going to be the starting quarterback next year. I think he's going to turn it on here in the second half of the season. He's going to lead this team to the playoffs. I'm predicting all that. I said today, I think the Steelers are going to win 11 games with Kenny Pickett as their quarterback this year. And if they do that, he is coming back.
Someone in the chat named Cassie Voth.
Yeah, who's Casey Voth?
I don't know who that is. But
who's Casey Voth?
They ask, what are the odds Levi Wallace is playing for the Steelers next year?
0.
He will not be on the team.
Maybe 5%.
He sucks.
Maybe they bring him back as a backup.
JPJ should be starting right now over him.
Yeah, 100%. JPJ should be starting over Levi Wallace. 100%.
Right now.
Right now. JPJ should be the number
next year.
JPJ should be the number 1 corner on this team because he's the best corner on this team.
Wait, so you're saying you should play your best players?
Crazy.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable, Mike Tomlin. I don't care if they're rookies. Keanu Benson, Broderick Jones, JPJ, Nick Herbig. These guys are playing good football. Play them. I don't care if they're rookies and you have some sort of loyalty to your veteran.
I would rather
play your best player.
I'd rather the rookies make mistakes out there than seeing the same crap from the veterans making the mistakes.
100%. I completely agree with you, man. You gotta lean towards the future here, in my opinion, and I really do think that this is good. So Matt Hyde says his stats don't matter as long as he is winning.
Austin Tardif's in the chat too.
Oh,
Let's ride.
Austin Tardif, my man, I've got a deal for you. All right, so today we're doing a special promotion where if someone sends in a $100 super chat today, I am going to shout out Antonio Brown on Twitter, and I'm going to ask him to come on Steelers Talk. All right, so if you want to see Antonio Brown here on Steelers Talk, send in that 100-piece, and I'll send in the tweet. All right, so let's get that done, man. So Matt Hyde, here's the only thing that I would retort that with, because he says, as long as Kenny's winning, why would we replace him? And, I do agree with that. If Kenny gets this team to 11, 12 wins.
If you're winning, you don't replace him.
You don't replace him. What I'm saying is the numbers that he's putting up right now are not conducive to winning long term, right? So if he's sitting at 35th in accuracy and 36th in points above replacement, I mean, you're just not going to win that many football games. Okay, like I said, I think it's going to get better. But if it doesn't, you want your options open. That's why you don't trade those 2 first-rounders for Patrick Surtain. So if I'd have to put my money on it, I think Kenny Pickett's going to be the starting quarterback of this team next year. In fact, I'm going to move my number to 70% to 80%. All right, I really do think Pickett's going to play better in the second half of the year. But with the numbers being the way that they are, you have to keep your options open. There's just no debating that, in my opinion. All right, so we got one more segment here to go here on Steelers Talk. I've got Steelers trade predictions. I've got 4 of them for you guys. So, Coop, are we ready to get things going here?
I believe we are. Let me just double-check something real quick.
Okay, Tardif, I know that you're always up for a challenge. If you want to see Antonio Brown
for a challenge
here on the show, $100 super chat, I will personally shout out to him on Twitter to see if he'll respond. Let's get this going, man.
I'm gonna fix this real quick.
All right. Mr. Coop has one quick fix. Good Lord, Tex, what are we doing?
Tex was a big help today.
Tex was a big help. Producer Tex was a big help, but he made a mistake on one of these graphics here.
Coop made a mistake too, so it's okay.
Oh my goodness. All right. Man, you know what's crazy, Coop, is that the Steelers are sitting at 4-2 right now.
Yes, they are.
They've got their best football ahead of them. Deontay Johnson's back.
Cam Hayward on his way back.
Cam Hayward's going to be on his way back. Austin says, sorry, Sperry, I'm tight of my money until we get a house. That's right, Austin.
Austin.
I forgot that you guys are planning on getting a house. So congratulations on that,
that's
by
awesome.
the way. So no worries here, Austin. But if someone wants us to reach out to Antonio Brown to see if he'll come on the show, send in that $100 and join Steelers Talk Gold Club today. Oh, my goodness.
All right.
Coop, are we ready to get things going?
We are ready, pardon me, to rock.
Okay. We got one more segment here to go, so let's jump right into the Steelers trade predictions coming at you right now. Today's Steelers Talk video is sponsored by HexClad. Get 10% off some premium cookware today when you go to hexclad.com/chatsports. And on today's show, I'm going to be breaking down 4 Steelers trade predictions that I think could actually happen before the 2023 NFL trade deadline. You're not going to want to miss this, people. I'm telling you right now, this is going to get spicy. I've been waiting to do this video for at least the last couple of weeks. So make sure you stick around to the very end if you're a real one. But first, before we get into these trade predictions, make sure you click that subscribe button, because if the Steelers make a move, if Omar Khan makes a trade here before the NFL trade deadline, we are going to give you guys a video, and we'll probably actually go live on trade deadline day if it happens next Tuesday. So make sure you click that subscribe button for me right now. Turn on your notifications, because if the Steelers make a move, we're going to be covering you guys with a video. Now, before I give out these predictions, I am going to say the chances that all 4 of these trades actually end up happening is very slim, right? Trades are among the hardest things to predict in sports. Just keep that in mind. But I definitely think that these 4 predictions that I'm going to be laying out today are definitely possibilities for the Pittsburgh Steelers as we approach Tuesday's deadline. So, I think it's important to kind of look at the current cap space right now, because it really hinders what the Steelers are going to be able to do in terms of bigger contracts with bigger base salaries like that. So right now they got about $2.8 million in additional cap space to use. So you got to keep that in mind here with the Steelers and the players that they need to target. So let's do my number one prediction here, and this is the one I really want them to do. I really hope that once again, Omar Khan pulls off an incredible fleecing of the Chicago Bears here by sending a third-round pick and Levi Wallace to Chicago in exchange for Jaylon Johnson. I know that Patrick Surtain is the big name that's being thrown around in Steelers Twitter, but I'd rather have Jaylon Johnson, and here are some reasons why. Right now, according to Pro Football Focus grading, Jaylon Johnson is the number 2 corner in the National Football League, and Matt Eberflus's cover 2 heavy scheme. That's out of 115 NFL cornerbacks. That is excellent. He also fits exactly what the Steelers want to do on defense, whether it's press, whether it's zone. This guy can do everything, which is something that I really like about Jaylon Johnson's game. Steelers love to go to that Tampa 2 look on third downs. Jaylon Johnson has been playing in that cover 2 type system here in Chicago for the last 2 years and has been excellent at that. He would be a perfect fit. And then also, he's not going to be nearly as expensive as someone like Patrick Surtain, who's still 23 years old. The Broncos are going to want 2 first-round picks at least for that guy. I think you can get Jaylon Johnson for a third-round, maybe a second-round pick, but hopefully Omar can work his magic here and make it a third-rounder. And then you send Levi Wallace, who has been absolutely abysmal here in Pittsburgh, send him to Chicago where he's actually a better fit. They run a lot more zone there in Chicago, lots of cover 2. Levi would probably fit in that system better than here with the Pittsburgh Steelers, where it's a lot of man-match coverages. Take a look at right now the cornerbacks that are playing for the Steelers. It's not good enough, especially because Joey Porter Jr., your highest-graded corner, is barely playing at this point. He did play more against the Rams. Indicators are looking like he's going to play more as the season goes on. But Patrick Peterson, he looks a little old and slow at this point. Levi Wallace has been even worse. Chandon Sullivan has been the worst for the Steelers this year. That's why they're putting Minkah Fitzpatrick in the slot instead of Sullivan. You need a nice refresher here in the Steelers secondary, and you can fix it right now by trading for Jaylon Johnson. Make him your number 1 corner, and look at how much this has improved right now. You got Jaylon Johnson and Joey Porter Jr. as your cornerback duo for the next 5 years, in my opinion. They're both grading super high. They're both really good in press coverage. They can get right back to playing Pittsburgh Steelers bump and run football here on defense. And then you slap Patrick Peterson there in the slot. I think that's where he's more suitable. Nowadays, he's not quite as fast to play on the outside. I think he's more suitable there in the slot, kind of play more as a roamer, kind of do that. I think his PFF grade would go up exponentially if you move him to the slot full time. And to me, this makes perfect sense. This trade makes perfect sense. You swap the salaries of Levi Wallace and Jaylon Johnson so you can afford it. Chicago gets another day 2 draft pick there with that third-round draft pick. And the Steelers get their number 1 corner right now, Jaylon Johnson, along with an up-and-coming star, in my opinion, in Joey Porter Jr. This is something that would absolutely make an impact for the Steelers defensively without having to break the bank and mortgage your future for a guy like Patrick Surtain. Now, coming up here, should the Steelers trade for a running back? I'm going to let you know the running back that I think is the most likely to get traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers here before Tuesday's deadline. But first, I want to tell you about today's sponsor, which is Hexclad. And let me tell you, these are the best pans on the freaking market, guys. Hexclad has revolutionized the cookware industry with a hybrid pan that gives you all the convenience and cleanup of a nonstick, the versatility of your grandma's cast iron, and a lifetime warranty just in case you find a way to destroy them. Go to hexclad.com/chatsports for 10% off today. Hexclad truly checks every single box when it comes to picking your cookware. They're metal utensil safe, dishwasher safe, and oven safe up to 500 degrees. But don't just take my word for it, people. Celebrity chef Gordon Ramsay uses Hexclad pans in his very own home kitchen. This is what Gordon has to say about Hexclad. The sear I can get with these pans is incredible, with absolutely no stick. The temperature control is utter perfection, and the cleanup is effortless. I love using Hexclad at home, and let me tell you, man, these things are the sexiest pans on the market. This is my very own Hexclad pan that I brought from home. Cassie and I pan fry steaks on this baby twice a week, along with chicken once a week. And look at this thing. It looks like it's coming right out of the box, perfectly easy to clean. And then let me tell you, I've made the best steaks and chicken thighs that I've made in my entire life on this pan. So score points at home today. It's time to stop ordering delivery food and start cooking like a big boy with HexClad today. Real cuisine isn't made in a microwave, people. It's cooked in a HexClad. So for a limited time only, get 10% off with our special link, hexclad.com/chatsports. That's 10% off at hexclad.com/chatsports. Boom! Derrick Henry to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Could it happen? I would say probably not. But hey, if I'm going to predict a running back to be sent to the Pittsburgh Steelers here, I'm going to pick Derrick Henry, King Henry himself, in exchange for Najee Harris and a 6th-round pick to the Tennessee Titans. Let's face it, guys. Tennessee, they just gave Kevin Byard to the Philadelphia Eagles for a bag of peanuts. All right? They're not looking for much here. They're not looking for 3rd, 4th-round picks, right, for a running back. I think that they want somebody in Najee Harris that they feel is a similar type of running back, a younger version of what Derrick Henry used to be, and bring him in because he's a good scheme fit for what they like to do in Tennessee. He's younger. He can be more of a sustainable option for them, and overall they see him as somebody that could be a replacement for Derrick Henry long term. And the reason why the Steelers are going to want this move is because right now is their time for winning. The defense is really good. You got the weapons on offense. Hopefully you got your quarterback in Kenny Pickett for the future. And right now it seems like the Steelers are looking for a running back to kind of be the centerpiece of this offense, to be a ground and pound offense that completely takes the lifeblood out of opposing defenses and it just takes their will to live. Derrick Henry has been the best running back in the National Football League at doing just that over the last 5 years. And you look at the production between Derrick Henry and Najee Harris right now, tell me you wouldn't want Derrick Henry over Najee right now as your star running back. If you're going to be centering your offense around a running back, I mean, Najee Harris only has 1 touchdown, 50 yards per game. He's supposed to be the centerpiece here? I don't think so, man. Derrick Henry is somebody that I understand. He's 29 years old. Running backs usually don't last too long after the age of 30. But even if you get 2-3 good years out of Derrick Henry, hopefully by that point, Kenny Pickett is fully developed enough to be able to carry this offense. And Derrick Henry right now can turn this team into a competitor because you got that elite defense. If you can pair that with a soul-crushing run game, I'm telling you right now that the Pittsburgh Steelers would be a real competitor here in the AFC, even though they might not have a Patrick Mahomes or a Josh Allen. They could completely completely dominate opponents with Derrick Henry in their corner here. But really, I think that the more likely scenario here is that the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to stick with Najee Harris. I really do think that. I think that they like Najee. I think that he's going to be their guy moving forward. Whether or not that's the right decision, I'll leave that up to you guys to debate. But for me, I think the Steelers, if I had to bet on it, I think they're going to keep Najee Harris as the number 1 running back here, at least for this year. But let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. Pick a number 1 running back to usher this team into the next era of Steelers football. Type D if you want Derrick Henry, or if you want Najee, type N down there in the comments. Now, this is one that I would love to see the Steelers do right here. Go and get offensive tackle Trent Brown from the New England Patriots and then trade away Chukwuma Okorafor and a 4th-round draft pick. And the reason why you do this is you solidify a super important position on the offensive line, both offensive tackle spots. You got Broderick Jones as your future left tackle, and now that you send Chukwuma Okorafor away, you can just plug Trent Brown right in at right tackle. He's been absolutely fantastic this year with the New England Patriots, but plain simply, the Steelers need a change at offensive tackle. We all know this. You take a look at the Pro Football Focus grades right now for left tackle Dan Moore Jr. and right tackle Chukwuma Okorafor. This isn't cutting it, guys. 71st and 48th? Are we freaking joking each other here? This is terrible. And then if you plug Trent Brown in right now, who's currently the 2nd highest graded offensive tackle in football, into this offensive line, it makes it instantly better. And I really don't think he's going to be that expensive. There's a lot of outlets right now saying that teams are getting Trent Brown for like a 5th-round pick. I think if the Patriots are getting a power right tackle like Chukwuma Okorafor plus a 4th-round draft pick, that's something that they're not going to deny there in terms of a trade. I think that would get you right in the thick of it there. I think there's going to be a lot of teams vying for the services of Trent Brown because lots of teams need tackle help. But I think the Steelers, with that 4th-round pick plus Chukwuma Okorafor type deal, I think they're going to be right there towards the top in terms of what they can offer the New England Patriots. And Trent Brown would be an absolute game changer, especially if Broderick Jones turns into what I think he's going to be able to be. And then also there's the added benefit of when you trade Chukwuma Okorafor, you save $10.5 million in cap space for this year. So it opens up even more opportunities for Omar Khan down the line in case they want to go get a free agent, in case they want to make another trade. Trading Chukwuma Okorafor, if he can pull it off, would be an incredible move by Omar Khan. And if he can do that and get Trent Brown in the process, that'd be one hell of a move by the Khan Otters himself, Omar Khan. Now, coming up here, I got my final Steelers trade prediction to share with you guys. But before I share that, do me a favor. If you're feeling generous today and you want to help out the show, we really appreciate everybody that clicks that thumbs up icon. It lets the YouTube algorithm know that you're enjoying this content and that YouTube should push this out to other Steelers fans like yourselves. So we really do appreciate all of your support. Do me a favor. Click that thumbs up icon right now. Now, the final prediction here on today's video is that the Steelers go out and get strong safety, hybrid linebacker, slot corner type, versatile chess piece, Jeremy Chinn, in exchange for, I know people aren't going to like this one, DeMonte KZ and a 2024 fifth-round pick. Now, the reason why I am making this trade, if I am Omar Khan, is that you want to put Minkah Fitzpatrick back in that free safety spot full-time. But in order to do that, you need to get somebody to do his current role in the defense, which is to play in the box, to play at slot corner, to be an enforcer in the middle of the defense and get tackles because, let's face it, the Steelers have had some tackling issues, especially against the run this year. Jeremy Chinn, this is what he does, man. He's a hybrid linebacker, a big safety that can still play half-field coverage if you ask him to, and he can play in the slot. He can play anywhere that you want, and this allows Minkah Fitzpatrick to do what he does best, which is to be a ball hawk, to play in the middle of the defense, to read the quarterback's eyes and go get interceptions. Right now, in his current role, Minkah has no interceptions this year. That needs to change, and I think the way you do that is you trade for a versatile chess piece that can play strong safety, that can play linebacker, that can play slot corner. And guess what? Jeremy Chinn does that. Unfortunately, it does mean you have to trade your current free safety, DeMonte KZ, away. That's something that I didn't want to do, but it's the only way to make the money work in this particular situation. And at the end of the day, if you're trading for somebody to play slot corner and strong safety and box safety, you're not going to need another free safety. Minkah's going to be playing there full time, so there really isn't a whole lot of purpose for DeMonte KZ because Jeremy Chinn's going to be playing in there. Keanu Neal's going to be playing in there. DeMonte KZ is more of a free safety. This deal allows him to go be himself and allows the Steelers to be their best selves moving forward. So I think it's a win-win for everybody involved. Now predict it for me down there in the comments section or down here on today's video. Will the Steelers trade for someone before the deadline? If you don't think so, like the video. If you do think that they trade for somebody, comment who you think they trade for down there in the comments section. Thank you guys so much for all of your support. Make sure you click that subscribe button right now because if the Steelers end up making any of these moves here or any other move, we're going to be going live with our reaction here on the show. So really do appreciate all of your support. I will see you guys later, and as always, here we go, Steelers. All right, Coop.
Here we go.
That's all three today. So we're gonna put on a shot clock here of 3 minutes. We're going to do 3 minutes for any super chats. If you want us to sing "Oh Canada," send in a 10. If you want to enter this week's t-shirt raffle, we're going to be doing a raffle on Sunday for a t-shirt. Send in 5. If you want me to tweet at Antonio Brown and ask him to come on the show, $100 super chat. Join Steelers Talk Gold Club for life, by the way. And we'll get in contact with AB. If not, we won't.
For life.
For life. All right, so there's our super chat menu here. If you've never super chatted before, we'll give you some Ric Flair drip to finish off today's show. Like I said, $5 t-shirt raffle. 10, we'll sing the "Oh Canada" song. 20, get your name on the hard hat.
Just Webb's World made us sing "Oh Canada" earlier. It's always a good day when we get to sing that.
Yeah, it's always a good day when you get to say F-U-C-K, Canada.
Because he sucks.
Yeah. I mean, he really does. I will give him credit for
they've improved a little bit on offense.
I will give him credit for a slightly better game plan last week.
Still ran a jet sweep that went for 1 yard.
It's not a Steelers football game without a jet sweep that goes for 1 yard.
Was it CA3 that ran that? I can't remember.
Yeah,
it was.
It was CA3.
Yeah.
Yeah, it couldn't have been Gunnar Olszewski because that
He
guy
got
got here.
cut.
And he got signed by the Giants.
They're suckers.
Suckers!
What idiots.
Have fun with him, man. He sucks.
He's awful.
Our Giants host was trying to tell me, oh, man, he's a former All-Pro. He's going to be so good.
Yeah, former, dude. He's washed.
He stinks. That's what I tried warning him, man.
We tried to tell him.
We tried telling him. I mean, he's convinced that he's going to be the next great punt returner for the Giants. And I was like, hate to break it to you. He won't. He's going to muff a punt this week. I told him, don't come crying to me when Gunnar muffs a punt for you this week, man.
He might, dude. I mean, that guy is. I'm glad he's off our team. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I mean, it was just infuriating because, like, every time he hit the field, it was like a fumble or a stupid toe tap on a kickoff.
Every time he was on the field, something weird happened.
Yeah, and I was just done with it. I had him on my cut candidates video.
Before the season.
I mean, all off season. Literally from the first cut candidates video all the way to the
roster.
to the start of the game.
Yeah.
I had him cut. I had him cut on my 53-man roster projection. He stinks.
He sucks.
And I'm just glad that he's gone. I mean, I wish him well. Don't get me wrong. You know, I don't want him to suck or anything like that, even though I kind of a little bit want
I don't want him to
suck.
suck. He's just going to suck.
Yeah, he's just not a good football player, unfortunately. So, I mean, I'm very excited for the trade deadline. Hopefully the Steelers are pretty busy.
Next Tuesday, Sperry will be live on our main Chat Sports channel, but we will also be simulcasting it onto this channel. So it will be on this channel, trade deadline coverage of the NFL trade deadline next Tuesday, 6 days away.
That's right. Can you put up the weigh-in too between me and Petey?
Yes.
The Twitter.
Yes.
We're going to finish off today's show. If you guys would be so kind, if you guys want more Steelers content and NFL content in general, I'm pretty active on my Twitter. I do an NFL Power Rankings every single week. I do a bunch of different stuff for the Steelers and the NFL in general. Right now, we're trying to catch up to my Browns counterpart here at Chat Sports, Matthew Peterson, who has about double what I have in Twitter following. And by the way, that is just a travesty. That cannot be allowed to continue. So if you want Steelers updates, Steelers film analysis, you want channel updates, help me catch up to Matthew Peterson right now. Help me help you become a better Steelers fan by going to X right now or Twitter, whatever you guys want to call it, at Jack_Sperry. Help me catch up this week. My goal is to catch up to this guy by Sunday. All right, so help me do that right now before we get things going. Really do appreciate all of your guys' support. You guys are the absolute best. Coop, I think it's time to wrap things up today.
We'll see you guys. We will be live on Tuesday. We'll be live on Sunday, obviously, for the game.
Yep.
Then we'll be live on Tuesday for the trade deadline. Then we have Thursday Night Football, and then we'll be live again the following day. A lot of lives coming up.
Yeah, a lot of lives coming up here, so make sure that you guys are subscribed. Make sure you turn on your notifications. Make sure you join us for Sunday's watch party. It's going to be an absolute blast. So that's going to be it for us today, guys.
Let's go.
Really do appreciate all of your support. We will see you guys later. And as always,